Hello, welcome to this game review. We'll have a look at this game that involves a lot of missed tactics, both which happened in the game and some could have happened. So let's get into it. So it started as some Caro-Kann, some exchange variation. The details aren't that important, but Black developed his pieces quite sensibly. White started not making sense quite early by putting his queen on d3 for some reason, without any regard for his development. Of course, we should just try to develop. This knight is badly placed. In this structure it should eventually go somewhere, which it will. Knight c6. Now Black is just doing very well. He has no problems whatsoever. White's pieces are strangely placed. And in this reversed Carlsbad structure, so to say, Black will eventually try to play in the center or try to organize some queenside expansion. So here already Black had a good move in bishop f5. In general, moving the same piece twice in the opening is not recommended, but here concretely this bishop attacks the queen, and when the queen moves, this pawn will be hanging. For example, after this, Black has the very nice move a6. And all this is quite difficult to see, but the point is that if White takes, now suddenly the queen is trapped, and this is a known motive in such positions. And instead bishop e7, which is fine. Again, bishop f5 was a good move. Here it's even stronger, as after this the queen, if it goes here, the knight a5 almost traps it. After here b5, now the queen is trapped. White will have to give up and a piece. So instead, if queen e3, now, if queen e3, now Black can simply take the pawn and run away. So it's important to always look at forcing moves and what we can attack. You never know which forcing move may win you material. The only way to know is to always check them, and this is what strong players do. So castles, and again this was the last chance to play bishop to f5. White has to take here to attack the queen. Black will take back, and after queen a6, this pawn on c2 is very weak. Black can, for example, play c5 to get rid of his weakness, and in a position like this, Black is doing very well, as he has easy play for his pieces. This is still hanging, and Black is doing well. So instead, Black takes here, the knight recaptures. Now the knight is better placed. Eventually the pawn should go to c3. Now after f3, Black missed a chance again to make a small tactic work. Again, forcing moves, checks, captures and attacks, they must be looked at. Of course here Black can either start with taking here or taking here. Doesn't matter, as White will have to recapture. And the point is that by themselves these moves don't do much, but this is a combination. Let's see what happens after the forcing moves are done. Here Black takes this knight, and at the end of all this there is a check, which is there because White played f3. So this cannot be fought for, so to say. You cannot think of this. This has to be found. Humans don't think this way, that oh, f3 happens, so I will give a check. We just have to check the forcing moves and see if there's anything. Sometimes there will be nothing, but sometimes something will be there. And the point is, the b2 pawn is hanging, after which the e5 pawn is also hanging, so Black will pick up a lot of pawns, potentially. So instead, Black went back, knight f4. Here, Black could probably try to win some material like this. Put a knight on c4, forcing this pawn and this pawn. Also, again, this is big threat. In some positions, this pin might be also annoying. But Black played here. Unfortunately, this is a blunder, which White did not capitalize on. You can pause the video, try to find the best continuation for White. And anyway, the knight can go to d7. This is a fork. Again, the only way to find such moves is to look for them consciously. Our pattern recognition cannot always find these weird moves. but this is why we have to always be on the lookout for forcing moves, checks, captures, and attacks. And this will win an exchange, though black is somewhat fine after a position like this. He has some compensation in a pawn and this weakness, though not much. Instead this happened, bishop e3, now knight f5, and now black played e5, which is a forcing continuation, but it's an obvious blunder. And it only becomes obvious after white's move, unfortunately. So here, how can we avoid such blunders? Well, we have to look for forcing moves for our opponent as well. And as they say, when you start thinking about your opponent's moves, chess becomes twice as hard, because you have to keep twice as many moves in your head and twice as many ideas, but that's chess. If we want to play good chess, we will have to do it the hard way. And here e5 is bad, because if we check our opponent's forcing moves, he doesn't have to do what we want him to do. He can take the knight, which he did. Black's point was probably that if here, then this would be a nice pin, which is true, but unfortunately this knight is hanging, though black is still doing fine because he can take b2. Later, a couple moves passed, black took another pawn, exchanged some pieces, and here black is 2 pawns up, and he has 2 connected passed pawns, so in general his position should be winning, though of course there is still some work to be done. Here black kind of plays an abstract move in a5. His problem is these rooks. He should activate them. Of course it might not be pleasant to give up a pawn, but it's more important to have an active rook in such a position. Well, this will not become a queen in the near future. Black can create an air hole for his king, maybe use this pawn as well. Now rook e2 is a big threat, and these 2 pawns will also win the game. Instead a5, h6, rook fd8, and unfortunately black played this move queen d6, which completely disregards the opponent's only possible check, which conveniently is a winning move for white, which he found. So as we see, it's enough to just find these forcing moves. There were so many in this game that were possible to find, and all of them would have led to big advantages for one side or the other. Well, this was white's first chance to get an advantage, but it was big enough to make black resign soon. In reality, black could still kind of play on by taking and giving up the queen. He can double the rooks. He still has these 2 passed pawns. There are some checks around this king. Of course the position is lost, but this isn't so to say the end of the world. The point is that if here, then white takes here, which happened in the game, and this a8 rook is hanging. So this is a known deflection tactic, and now it's known to black as well.